Welcome to Southwest Florida Happenings, the show that gives a voice to the Southwest Florida community. I'm your host, Mary Ann Cipressi, and joining me in the studio today is James Chandler, and James is with the law office of James Chandler. Kind of clever naming there.
Clever name, yes.
And you're also running for 20th
20th Judicial Circuit Court Judge.
Yeah, that's a
tongue twister.
Yes, it is.
I understand.
Yes, it is. And so we're going to be talking about the judicial system today. So to kick things off, why don't we chat a little bit about maybe giving some insight on exactly how the judicial system works.
Sure. Well, we have the federal judicial system, which is obviously we have the district court here in Fort Myers. The appellate court for us here is the 11th Circuit in Atlanta, and then obviously the U.S. Supreme Court, which is the one that everybody hears about. But we have a state court system, and our state court system is set up to where we have county courts in each county. We have circuit courts. We have courts of appeal, and here locally, our court of appeal is in Lakeland at the 2nd District Court of Appeal. And then obviously we have the Florida Supreme Court. What county courts handle, they handle primarily traffic, misdemeanor, and small claims court matters. Circuit courts handle family court, civil court, felony court, and they handle anything involving children, juvenile delinquency, and juvenile dependency primarily.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty organized system. And
It
so
is.
when we get called to jury duty for Lee County, it's either the 20th Circuit Court or it's county court.
Yes, it could be county court or it could be circuit court, depending on. You don't even know until you get there that day what court has a jury trial scheduled for that day. You could also again be summoned to federal court here in Fort Myers, and they summon from all over Southwest Florida. But if you live in Lee County, you would either get summoned to one of those two. Obviously, in Collier County, you would get summoned only to the Collier County Courthouse unless it's a federal jury summons.
And then they'd have to travel to Fort Myers.
And they'd have to travel to Fort Myers.
My mom got called to one of those once many years ago. So another term that you hear a lot in the judicial system is fair and due process.
Yes.
Can you kind of explain exactly what that is?
Sure. Essentially, in a criminal context, when it's a government taking or the state is seeking to impose something on you, whether it's in the dependency context where they're wanting to remove children, or in criminal court where they're wanting to arrest you and charge you with a crime, there is a procedure that's been set forth by the Constitution and by the Florida Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court as to how, in the rules of criminal procedure, how the procedure goes. And you're entitled to a jury trial. You're entitled to your day in court. You're entitled to be heard. You're entitled to get discovery. And those are things that we're all entitled to as citizens of the United States when we're charged by the government. In a civil context, we're entitled to have due process, which means service of process. Our day in court to be heard instead of just a judge somewhere determining something without you getting your say-so. You have a right to your day in court. You have a right to be served and to be apprised of any litigation brought by another citizen against you. So that's, in a nutshell, what fair and due process is.
And in your career, you have been both a prosecutor and a defense attorney.
I have.
Which is what you currently are now as a
Yes.
defense attorney. So that brings a unique perspective, doesn't it, to your career?
Well, in a criminal context, having been a prosecutor and knowing what the state wants and the state's interests are in prosecuting criminal cases, and then being on the defense side and knowing what your clients are trying to, obviously do what's best for them. And that's overriding as a defense attorney. Our overriding objective is not necessarily people think out there to get people off. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is to advise people to do what's in their best interest. So depending on also for family court, you sometimes are the petitioner and sometimes the respondent, so you get to see both sides of an issue. For example, in one case I might be seeking alimony on behalf of a client, and the next case I may be defending against alimony on behalf of a client.
Okay, so if somebody wants to know more about your campaign for circuit court judge,
Sure.
Where would they find all this out?
They could go to our campaign committee website, which is www.jameswchandler4judge.com, or they can find us on Facebook at just James W. Chandler for Circuit Judge. You can search that in the search bar. That's where you can find out more information about our campaign or upcoming events that we're going to be at.
All right, thank you so much. And it was
Thank
wonderful having you
Thank you,
on the
ma'am.
show with us today. And that ends this episode of Southwest Florida Happenings. the show that's giving a voice to the Southwest Florida community.